Able to see him. Here's the pass. Oh, what a catch! Leaping into the air and pulling it down is T. Higgins. Burrow facing pressure. Goes over the top. Wide open is Chase. And he splits the defenders for the touchdown. The Cincinnati kid, Hubbard's got a convoy, chased by Andrews, at the 30, the 20, he will score!
Hooday, Bengal fans. This is Jake. He is Mon. This is the Bengals Pulse, the heartbeat of our Cincinnati Bengals. A heartbreaking game today. I think one, Mon, that very disheartening. I think that's the best word that I can talk about today. Before we talk about the game, though, the Cocoa Beach Fish Camp Grill, we want to thank you guys for having us out. It was a great experience. We had quite a few Bengal fans here, from local Bengal fans here from Brevard County, Florida area. So thank you very much to the Cocoa Beach Fish Camp and Grill. Mon, really, again, like I said, I'm at a loss for words right now. Very disheartened. This team just does not look good. I think defensively, offensively today, this team is struggling. They look lost at times. This offense, Mon, still has not found its ground yet. I don't know, man. Hopefully they get this thing turned around quick, or it's going to be a long season.
Yeah, shout out to our host today, the Cocoa Beach Fish Camp Bar and Grill. Amazing job. Good turnout by the Bengal fans. We really appreciate everybody that came out, and thank you to the owners. They really did a good job for the Bengal fans here. Yeah, Jake, disappointing. I don't know what else to say. Really, what's disheartening to me is how physical the Titans were and how they pushed our defensive line and offensive line around. That really, really is disappointing. Wasn't expecting that. We got punched in the mouth today. I mean, there's no other way to say it. A lot of emotional people, a lot of emotional takes on Twitter. Guess what, guys? You have every right to be emotional. It was a very poor performance, unacceptable for a team as talented as the Cincinnati Bengals to perform the way they did today. Unacceptable. And you're right, Jake. They have to get this fixed quick.
Well, I mean, I think today is you can look back and look at all these moments that happened in this football game. One, Mon, that jumps out to me is I just kept saying it all day, repeating it to you. 1st down and 5. They just jumped off sides. The Titans just jumped off sides. It was the moment we were going from the first quarter, the transition from the first quarter to the second quarter. The Bengals come out on 1st and 5. They try to run a play action, and I think go up top. It looked like it. Joe gets hit as he throws the ball. Really should have been a personal foul, 15-yard penalty. They threw the flag, then they picked the flag back up. And, Mon, from that moment on, the Bengals' offense just got manhandled. And you wonder if that moment, if that's one of those moments where Joe Burrow gets just absolutely destroyed on the play, if that took really the steam out of this offense. Because from that moment on, the Bengals did not look like they wanted to take the field offensively. Defense played hard at times, gave up big plays, but offensively, Mon, this team is struggling. Joe Burrow has 2 touchdowns in 4 games. That is unacceptable. They tried to run the football early on. We were moving the ball down the field. The first drive, Bengals had 72 yards, Mon, in that first drive. After that first drive, 90 yards for the rest of the game. Again, that is unacceptable. That is, as a coaching staff, that's not adjusting to what the defense is giving you.
Yeah, the offense is just uneven. They're running the ball very successfully. Joe Mixon over 4.5 yards per carry. They just, I don't know. It's just a weird, odd flow. I mean, 3rd and 3, Jake. This is right before halftime. They throw a deep pass to Tyler Boyd, who did, have one hand on it. It would have been a spectacular catch. I know he's a great player. He makes catches like that. It's a low percentage pass. Let's get the first down. Your defense is getting throttled. They're running it down our throat. Give them a break. Let's get a first down. Let's go into halftime 17-6. At best, maybe 17-10. What happens? We punt the ball. They come down and score a touchdown. It's 24-3. I question the play calling. It's frustrating. I'm not on the fire Zach Taylor crowd, clowns that are saying this stuff on Twitter. I don't want him fired, but he has to do a better job. His coaching staff has to do a better job. This team hasn't been ready all year. It's so easy to blame it on the calf issue with Joe Burrow. That is an issue. I acknowledge that. It's bigger than that. It's much bigger than that. This team can't adjust, and they haven't been able to adapt. And we have to do something about it. We have been to 2 AFC championship games back-to-back. We played in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. The margin for error in this league is tiny. All the teams have gotten better. Hey, we got Orlando Brown, but you know what? I think some of our additions have played well, but I think some of our losses are coming back to haunt us right now. We'll talk about that more in a few minutes. Tough loss, frustrated, disappointed. Man, they got to get this ship right, Jake.
Mon, I'm going to be honest with you. We've been out coached 4 weeks in a row. Even in the Rams game, I think Lou put together a good defensive scheme, but offensively, we're just being out coached. I mean, I don't even know if there's any other way to say it. This team is way too talented not to be putting points on the board. In 2 games this year, Mom, the Bengals have scored a total of 6 points. That is unacceptable. With the talent on this football team, again, Coach Taylor, I hope he's the head coach of the Bengals for a very long time. But as far as calling offensive plays, I think those days have got to be done. I really do. I just don't see how you can keep going out week in and week out with the same offensive plan and score 3 points. I just don't see how you can do that. Again, it's okay to just be a head coach sometimes, and I think that's what Zach Taylor needs to do because he's a great head coach. He's a great leader of men. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But calling plays.
Let me ask our fans out there a simple question. Not being a homer, who has the better roster, Titans or Bengals?
Yeah.
Arguably, the Titans have the worst offensive line in football. Read up in their local newspaper what's happened to them. They've had key injuries. Their best offensive lineman was injured. Their other tackle was injured. What did they do today? They punched the Bengals in the mouth. That's what's disheartening. That's what upsets me. I can't believe how we weren't able to dominate this offensive line that the Browns dominated, that they're really, really struggling. They manhandled us. And, I'm sorry, that's coaching, that's attitude. It's frustrating, guys.
Ron, I'm looking right here. The Bengals did not convert a 3rd down until about 6 minutes left in the 4th quarter. That's unacceptable, Mon. They were 2 of 9 on 3rd down today. 2 of 9 on 3rd down. 0 for 1 on 4th down, Mon. 211 total yards offensively. 211, Mon. Again, you're not going to win football games in this league. I don't care how good your defense is. If you are going out and going 2 for 9 on 3rd down and having 200 yards of total offense against, again, I talked about this Titans front. It's a tough group. I mean, Simmons dominated our offensive line today. He dominated them. Again, we're seeing the same issues that we've seen the last 2 years. Any team that we play that's got any type of interior pass rush, it just absolutely disrupts the entire offense. But, Mon, this Titans defense was not very good coming into this football game. And they just absolutely, you said it right, they punched us in the mouth. I don't know how else to say it. Stat-wise, again, I mean, obviously not really a lot there. Burrow, 20 of 30, 165 yards. He was sacked 3 times. Joe Mixon, 14 carries for 67 yards. He did have a 4.8 average per carry. Jamar Chase, the leading receiver, 7 receptions, 73 yards. The next guy, Tyler Boyd, 4 for 26. T. Higgins misses the entire second half with a rib injury, so he's not out there. Honestly, Mon, the bright spot of this game, I think, goes to Brad Robbins, the rookie punter who had his best game as a pro. 5 punts. He averaged almost 52 yards a punt, Mon, with 62 being the longest. Again, I know it's hard to. I know it's hard to understand that when you have all of these weapons on offense, when the brightest spot is Brad Robbins. And again, I'm like you, man. I mean, this is just frustrating. I don't know if I've ever been this frustrated about a Bengals football team. I can't even remember the last time I was this frustrated.
All of our losses have had a common theme. Time of possession, Bengals 25 minutes, 15 seconds. Titans 34 minutes, 45 seconds. Cincinnati only ran 51 offensive plays. Tennessee ran for 173 yards, 5.2 yards per carry, with a banged-up offensive line that's been struggling. That's arguably one of the worst in football. I don't know what else to say. I want to say something to the Kumbaya Bengal fans out there that are coming after Bengal fans for being frustrated. I'm allowed to be frustrated. I'm a Bengal fan. I have been for years. I love this team. I'm going to watch them next week. I'm always going to root for them. You got to be real. Quit being a dreamer. Be real. And it's frustrating. I'm going to root for this team. I will never root for another team, and I'm pissed. But you know what? We'll get it right. We'll get it right. And don't be afraid to show emotion and be real.
All right, so let's look at some of these again, Mon. This is a telling stat right here. Our 2 leading tacklers are starting safeties, Mon. Nick Scott with 10 tackles today, Mon. That is not a good thing. Dax Hill with 8 tackles today. That is not a good thing. That means that these guys are getting to the second level every single play. This team is getting to the second level. Jermaine Pratt comes in with 7 tackles. Sack-wise, Miles Murphy, the rookie, has his first career sack today. Dax Hill has his second career interception. Again, I'm trying to come up with some positives here, Mon, but not a lot of positives today.
How did Murphy get the sack? I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was Tannehill kind of scrambled outside the pocket, and Miles Murphy caught him on the edge there. So congrats to Miles Murphy. Hopefully a lot more sacks to come in his career. But, Mon, again, I'm trying to be positive, but I just go back and I look at this football team. We wanted to start fast. They did. They went right down the field offensively. I mean, Joe Burrow was 4 of 4. And then we get down inside the 10-yard line. We run the ball on first down. We get 5 yards, Mon. And the very next play, Joe Burrow almost throws a pick 6. Then we're 3rd and 5. And obviously, then we run it on 3rd and 5. So I don't know, Mon. I don't know where this play calling is coming from. Again, I don't want to ever be that guy to question play calling because I've been there. I've called plays for a very long time, and I'm sure I've been questioned with my play calling too, but it just baffles me, Mon, that we get inside the 10-yard line, we run it on first down, we get 5 yards, and then we throw it on second down and run it on third down. That just makes no sense.
Jay, reading all the beat writers that cover the Bengals, they reading the tea leaves, they talk about how the Bengals playbook is limited because of Joe's soft tissue injury. Maybe valid points to that. What I don't understand is how can a calf injury handicap your offense that much? Are you unable to adapt, switch things up, try to find ways to generate yardage? And you have the best receivers in the NFL. You have an improved offensive line. The stats so far, scoring 3 points today is unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. There is no other way to beat around the bush there. I'm shocked by it. I really am. Listen, I understand it's hard to win on the road. I didn't expect this performance today. I did not expect it.
Mon, again, hear me out here. This offense has scored 3 touchdowns this year. In 4 games, we have scored 3 offensive touchdowns with more, again, Joe Burrow is still elite. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't care what anybody says. You have one of the best receivers in the NFL. You have one of the top 10 running backs in the NFL. Your offensive line is supposed to be better this year. Mom, we've scored 3 offensive touchdowns. Remember, one of those touchdowns against Baltimore was on a punt return. This team has only scored 4 touchdowns as a team in 4 games, Mom. In 4 games, this team has scored 4 touchdowns, 3 of them by the offense. That is embarrassing. I don't know how else to say it. It's embarrassing. With the talent on this football team, and I agree with you, Mon, we as Bengal fans, we have every right to be pissed. You should be pissed right now. If you are a loyal fan to this team, you should be pissed. You should not be trying to make excuses for this football team. There's no excuse. Joe Burrow, I'm tired of hearing about the calf. This offense is not scoring because of Joe Burrow's calf. It's not because of Joe Burrow's calf. There are a lot of other issues going on with this offense right now, Mon.
It's part of the reason, Jake, but it's bigger than that. There's a lot more going on. In the few tweets that I've read, I get it. Bengal fans are passionate like us. They're talking about, well, the players aren't executing. It's not the coach's fault. That's not true. Coaches need to hold these players accountable if that is true. Put players in there that will execute and perform the tasks that they need to perform. There are some silly takes on Twitter. I get it. Nobody here wants Zach Taylor replaced. That's not going to happen. He signed a multi-year contract.
Don't be ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. Let's face it. We're not going to just forget about the great things that have happened. In the last
We
couple
played in
of
2 straight AFC Championship games. What are people talking about?
Still, there's room for improvement. There's evolving that needs to be done on offense. There's adjustments. I understand Joe Burrow is limited. He's at 75%. But is that 25% difference causing the stats that we have on offense right now? You can't adjust. You do not have the personnel to adjust. They need to evolve. They need to do something on offense to change it up.
Well,
guys,
we'll see.
Yeah, we got 14 more games to go.
We'll see, Mom, because
13 games.
We got 13 games now, Mom. We're 1-3, and it's not going to get any easier. We got to go out to Arizona and play a Cardinals team that just manhandled the Dallas Cowboys. This Bengals team better get it right very quickly, or this season is going to be lost very quickly. Again, I don't really know what other scores are going on right now. The Bengal game just ended. Ravens are up 28-3, which I think is a good thing for the Bengals. And the last time I checked, I think the Steelers were down 23-6. So Steelers, right there with us, looking like a team that just cannot put anything together. The Texans manhandling them. Do we have a score on the Texans-Steelers game?
Texans won 30-6.
Texans won 30-6 over the Steelers.
That's a bad loss for Pittsburgh.
So at least we're not the only team struggling, I guess. It's a positive way to look at it. But this team's got to figure it out quick, Mom, because if they do not, it does not get any easier for this Bengals team. We have the Cardinals, the Seahawks, a bye. And, Mom, we got to play the San Francisco 49ers coming out of that bye. 3 straight NFC West teams coming up on this schedule. Bengals better figure it out, Mom.
Yeah, the only way to correct these issues that we're having now is obviously right the ship and steal a couple wins. There's a couple games out there we had as losses. We got to flip those as wins. And, 13 games is a lot.
A lot of football left.
There is a lot of football left, but you can't expect the team to go on a 10-game win streak every year.
No, we cannot.
They're in a hole. They're in a big hole. And we can only we're just hoping that they get this fixed and quickly.
Well, and again, I don't benching Joe Burrow is not the answer either. I don't want to see tweets about benching Joe Burrow. Listen, we are beyond that point. Agreed? We're beyond that point. Joe Burrow, is he as mobile as he usually is? No. But Joe Burrow is still gives us the best opportunity to win a football game. Joe Burrow's got to play right now. The time has passed of Jake Browning coming in and sitting Joe for a couple weeks. That time has passed. Agreed?
It is. And when you, what I would like to see is when you have a running back averaging 4.5, 4.8 yards per carry, I would love to see him get 25, 26 carries a game.
Why not?
And I would love to
Why
see.
not?
I would love to see our run game maybe get 30 carries a game. Let's see what happens. I get it. We're behind. We have to throw the ball some. But what are we throwing? We're not throwing 20, 30 yards downfield. We're throwing little 8-yard passes, 5-yard passes. Run the ball. Just run it and see what happens.
Well, when you don't run it, Mon, teams tee off on you,
Yes.
right? And the Titans are a good example of that. Kudos to them. They brought it every single play. They brought pressure every single play. They brought the house. There were times where they brought packages where they're blitzing and playing zero coverage, which is no safety high. And the Bengals could not adjust to it, Mon. And why? Because the Bengals are not running the football like they should be. 14 carries a game with a back like Joe Mixon is not going to win you a lot of football games.
I hear you.
Well, that is another edition of the Bengals Pulse. Once again, we want to give a big shout out to the Cocoa Beach Fish Camp Bar and Grill. They did an excellent job today hosting us, so we appreciate it, guys. As always, if you like this podcast, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Make sure you check out Mon and I on all the awesome podcast platforms, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify. If you like this podcast, make sure you give Mon and I that 5-star review. We would very much appreciate that. As always, follow Mon on Twitter at @TheFireMon. Follow me on Twitter at CoachJakeOwens9. Follow the Bengals Pulse on Twitter at Bengals_Pulse9. On Instagram, the same without the @ Bengals_Pulse9. And as always, check out all the awesome podcasts right here on the Wincinnati Podcast Network. He is Mon. I am Jake. This is the Bengals Pulse. Hoo day, Bengal fans. We'll see you here in a couple days.